Do the Mavericks know something? Daniel Gafford intends to sign a 3-year contract worth nearly $60 million, according to Shams Charania. Mark Stein specifies that is a $54 million extension, so he gets paid this season. The contract, he's still on $14 million. Then after that, he'll make an annual $18 million a year for the next 3 years after that. If it's just the face value, if it's just the contract extension, they're investing in center. The Mavericks are saying, hey, let's keep Daniel Gafford around for a while, and let's keep him at a deal that is pretty reasonable for what you would think is a starting center. It's about to be 10% of the salary cap. $18 million a year sounds like a lot for a center that's a backup and may not close in playoff games or close a lot of games and things like that. But the Mavs still have Derek Lively on his rookie deal for another year or two after this, and so we'll see what they decide to do, and that'll be interesting. But because this deal is a $54 million deal, the Mavs can still trade Daniel Gafford. Usually when a player signs a contract extension, if it's a certain number of years and a certain amount of money, they cannot be traded for a 6-month period. And so usually a lot of teams will sign players right, at the beginning of the season, and then the 6-month period bumps up into the trade deadline until they can't be traded. It's kind of like, all right, they signed their extension, they cannot be traded now for the season. That is not the case with Daniel Gafford now. He can still be traded. So the Mavericks either invested in center for their own team, like I just mentioned, or they invested in a center for another team, because Daniel Gafford is much more valuable as a long-term piece. He's got a 4-year deal now, this year, and 3 more years after that. And that's much more valuable to a team like a Chicago Bulls or somebody like that if they were going to trade him there, because then they don't have to worry about keeping him long-term. They already have that deal signed. And so the Mavs may be cooking something here.